steps. Number one step, if you want every behavior that you have now to be yours after Ramadan, every habit, every virtue you find yourself in this Ramadan, if you want it to be yours after Ramadan, then follow Islam. Innamal a'mal binniyat. Everything is dependent on what? The intention, the purpose, the reason. And Rasulullah tells us, beyond the fact that every act is based on the intention, what you are going to earn from that particular act is even based on also your intention. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ مَرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Whatever you are going to earn from that particular act is also based on your intention. So what was our intention for Ramadan? Like I said, when we talk about Ramadan, our mind goes to what? Reward. Meanwhile, Allah Azza wa Jal specifically and explicitly emphasized on the fact that Ramadan is for taqwa. Taqwa is nothing beyond a character. Rasulullah says, Innama bu'istu li'utammima makarim al-akhlaq. That indeed I was sent for me to come and fulfill excellent behavior. That leads to this particular hadith, that whoever embarks on fasting, man lam yada' qawla az-zur wal amala bi, falaysa lillahi hajatun fi an yada'a ta'amahu wa sharabahu. Whoever does not desert ill talks and then building his behavior on that particular ill talks, there is no need for him to stop eating and drinking. Allah doesn't need you stopping eating and drinking, thereby attaching character to what? Fasting. That is, if we don't know the meaning of Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you those who believe, ittaqullah, fear Allah, wabtaghu ilayhi alwasila, and look for a link to Allah Azza wa Jal in every deed that we embark on. Every deed that you do, look for the taqwa bridge that will push that particular deed, get it integrated into the real and core purpose of your creation. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah did not create you and the jinns except that Allah said you should come and worship Him. And in your worship too, what Allah needs from that worship is, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, u'budu rabbakum, worship your Lord. He is that your Lord, alladhi khalaqakum, who created you and installed a software in that particular creation, that you cannot go against that particular software. By all means, compulsorily, you have to follow that particular software. So u'budu rabbakum, I created you to worship your Lord, to follow that particular software. Alladhi khalaqakum, He was the one who created you. You're a computer, I created you, I installed a software in you. Follow that software. Ya ayyuhan nas. It's not Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, but it's Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind. I implanted a software within you, and you have to obey that particular software. Ar-Rahman, the most merciful Allah Azza wa Jal. Allama al-Quran, He taught the Quran. He installed the software into our makeup and taught our makeup that particular Quran. Khalaqa al-insan, He created mankind. Allamahul bayan, then He taught mankind how to explain nature. The software installed in nature, Allah taught mankind, and mankind is not the owner of that particular knowledge. He is the discoverer of that particular knowledge. What makes you disregard the owner of the knowledge? Have you ever created a resource? No. You only assembled a resource. You only developed a resource. But yabda'ul khalq, the one that begins the creation, is Allah Azza wa Jal. You are only the assembler, the manufacturer. So Allah Azza wa Jal tells us that Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, whether you are a believer or you are not a believer, u'budu rabbakum, worship your Lord, obey your Lord at the primary level of obeying the software that was installed in you. Alladhi khalaqakum, the one who created you. Why did Allah Azza wa Jal create you to worship Him? That la'allakum tattaqun, so that you might get what? Taqwa. You might get the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. Then He tells us that Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you those who believe, kutiba alaykumus siyam, the fasting was prescribed and made obligatory unto you, kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum, just like the way it was made obligatory unto those people before you. Why? La'allakum tattaqun, so that you might get what? taqwa, the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. So left and right, we understand that Allah Azza wa Jal wanted us to get what? Taqwa. Allah did not prescribe Ramadan and made Ramadan obligatory for you to accumulate reward. Reward and taqwa is just like fruit and a tree, or a product and a factory. If you take only the product and you leave the factory, you will consume the product and it will increase. Tomorrow you might not have it. If you take only the fruit and never focus on the nurturing and then the farming of the tree, you will consume the fruit today and tomorrow you wouldn't have. It is our responsibility to get the fruits of Ramadan, to get the products of Ramadan, but our core responsibility is to build the factory, the farm of those particular fruits, and that is taqwa. That is what Allah Azza wa Jal is telling you. We are working for money, but we are not working for money to remain in that particular work. No. What Islam wants you is to upgrade yourself from becoming an employee to an employer. An employee level, you get what we call reward. The employer level, you get the taqwa. You produce what? The reward itself. You produce the money itself, and it is yours. So my dear brothers and my dear mothers, we are to get reward, but that reward being given to us is a motivation for us to struggle and develop and nurture the pillars of characters, virtues of the people of taqwa enumerated in the Quran, so as at the end of Ramadan we get good characters, good behaviors, good habits. That's the reason why Allah Azza wa Jalla said we should fast, not to concentrate on only getting what? The reward. So therefore, how do we actually convert a behavior into a habit, and from a habit to a character? First of all, we'll look at the structure of the behavior from the perspective of psychology and from the perspective of what? The Quran, how behavior is being converted into a habit. How do you get addicted to the phone? And how do you get addicted to the pornography? How do you get addicted to masturbation? And when you become addicted to it, how do you break it? And then that particular habit of constantly getting up for what? Salah. How did you get addicted to Salah? How are you going to get addicted